thought his wife Kathryn wanted to reconcile, so he drove from Utah to where his wife and children were living. Matthew Restelli was gunned down in cold blood, in a plan not only devised by her, but her brother and her mother. With the claim of self-defense, they thought that they covered all of their tracks. Come with us on this journey and find out what can make a wife and her family create a plan to murder, on the episode of Criminal Psychology Files. Coming up next.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Criminal Psychology Files, also known as CPF. This is Greg Stewart, and today we have an interesting podcast of a true crime between a couple. And you hear couples with crimes of passion all the time. This one takes a different emotional twist because Kathryn has her brother murder her husband, and their mother was involved as well. So we're going to take a different twist too. We always give questions, and we still will give questions in reference to this podcast, but I'd like you to put yourself also in the shoes of both people, the person who is doing the crime and the person who is the victim. And the reason why I say this is that when I meet with a client in life coaching, I always put myself in the client's shoes. When I'm hearing things for the first time, or if I have their paperwork, I'm like, how would this make me feel? Is this strong enough? Now, we don't want to ever commit a crime to this magnitude, but do we commit crimes? What do you call cheating? Well, I'm not leaving. We have kids. So I'm going to do this, or I'm going to live my life. I recently just had a client. He's not cheating, but he goes, I'm not being seen anymore. So I'm going to live my life. So he planned 3 vacations in this past year to enjoy his life. Does this make him a bad person? Is this a crime against the relationship? I want you to put yourself in the client's shoes, or if you're an attorney, in the client's shoes, or in the victim's shoes, or in the person who commits the crime. So let's go ahead and break into this crime in reference to Kathryn and Matthew Restelli. Restelli. And we're going to get into this crime. But before we do, you're really helping this podcast grow. We're really getting some great feedback, and it's all because of you by liking, by subscribing, and by sharing. And some of you out there haven't really connected, but you're still watching, and I appreciate that. But please continue to help us grow. It really makes a difference. So please, again, like, subscribe, and share. But now let's move in to this crime of passion where brother and mother are involved.
Matthew Restelli was shot and killed on July 12, 2024, when he went to Utah to pick up his wife Kathryn and the kids at Kathryn's mother's home where she was staying. Or so he thought. Kathryn led Matthew to believe that they were going to be a family again, but when Matthew arrived, he was greeted by Kathryn's brother, Kevin Ellis, who shot Matthew at point-blank range. When the police arrived, Kevin said that Matthew arrived and in self-defense, he shot Matthew. The police began their investigation. They noticed abnormalities right off the bat. The screen door was removed, plastic coverings on the couch, and it was as if a path of toys were moved off to the side in a very neat manner. This began to create red flags to the investigating officers. Kevin said he had a knife, and the police said, "So you brought a gun to your mother's home, and how do you know Matthew was coming over here?" "I didn't, but after talking to my mother and my sister and Matthew being angry, and wanting to see the kids, I wasn't taking any chances." Matthew laid on the floor with the knife in question in his right hand, but this was odd, because Matthew is left-handed.
All right, so welcome back to Criminal Psychology Files. Matthew is driving from California to Utah, and he has the hopes and understanding that he's going to reconcile with his wife, Kathryn, bring the children back, go back to California. This is what Kathryn led Matthew to believe. Now, they know that he's on his way because prior to, I guess, leaving, there's a Apple tracker in the trunk, which comes out in court later. So they could rest, they could prep the house, and they could get ready to say, okay, Mom, you know what you're going to do. Brother, you know what you're going to do. This was a family affair. All were in on this crime. Now, what does someone have to do Who does someone have to be? How do you get your family? We always have our families behind us, but to commit murder. So again, putting yourself in your shoes. Do you go back? Remember what I said at the beginning? We're going to put ourselves in each person's shoes. So, dear Kathryn, what's happening with you? Says Mother Tracy Grist. That's the mother. Kevin Ellis is the brother. Mom, I can't. He's boring, or we always argue. Finances are tough. I never have a break. I have the kids. Oh, why do you stay with this person? Well, I just want nothing to do with them at all. Well, unfortunately, he has rights. Well, do you think we can get away with a murder? And who steps up in this area? Mom, well, gee, yeah, I think maybe we can. And the brother for sure. We could call it self-defense. Self-defense. Do you think we could? Yeah, we just got to plan it just right. So you got the tracker in the car. You invite him over. We'll know when he gets here. We'll prep the house accordingly. We already know he's been arguing with you. We already know that you both live separate from one another. Nobody knows that you told him that you're going to reconcile. So let's kill him. Let's have him come here. He was in a mad rage, and he came in, and I had no choice but to grab my gun and to shoot him. Then we'll plant a knife and then call the police, and they'll look around, they'll see everything will fit, and he'll be out of your life. Wow, this sounds really good, Kevin. Mom, yeah, this does sound good. Well, let's do that. So it goes into that. He arrives, the tracker says, but they did some things. They took the screen door off. We're just going to leave the wooden door. Leave the screen door off as if what? He pulled it off? Then they come in and they have plastic on the couch. Because I don't want to lose my couch, Mom says. We'll do like other people do. So when you spill wine or this, that, my couch is protected. So they got plastic on the couch. And hey, I don't want blood to get on the kids' toys. Let's move the toys. So they do all of these things. Boom, they shoot him. Down he goes, and they plant the knife. The only problem is that the police are seeing the door. What happened to this door? He pulled it off in a rage. Okay. You got a dog or something? We just like to keep the furniture clean, but it's just on the couch. Okay. And these toys. You have kids? Yep. Toys look really neat. The only problem is that the knife that he came at Kevin with, according to Kevin and the family, well, it's in his right hand. This comes up later in the investigation. Matthew is left-handed. So now, what are the police thinking? They're going to go more in depth in reference to this we've seen in other ways before. We quite haven't seen it in reference to mom and brother being associated with this crime. So let's see how this evolves. But before that, here's your first question.
The police, while investigating, noticed that Matthew had not one but multiple gunshot wounds. Multiple gunshots or stab wounds usually tell the story of someone hating someone. The police documented the crime as self-defense, and Kathryn and her family felt as if their plot worked and that they all got away with murder. But the forensics shared their findings, and that changed the outcomes to the case. Fact 1. Matthew is left-handed, and he was holding the knife in his right hand. Fact 2. Matthew had a bullet wound in his right hand, but he was still able to hold onto the knife. Fact 3. Kathryn told her friends that she was happy that Matthew was dead. Fact 4. Kathryn went on dates days later after the crime and showed crime scene images and videos during video calls. Fact 5. Kathryn's mother made jokes about taking photos of the body and sending them to true crime fans. Now ask yourself, Would these facts create holes in someone's story?
All right. So the police are closing in. They are looking at forensics. The family of Kathryn, they're not thinking anything about this. They're like, they left, they're not picking up the phone. We really got away with this. And they're bragging. They're feeling that confidence in reference to basically, I got away with murder. So what do they all do except for the brother? At least he's not in the picture at this point. So she's going on dates just days later. She's like, hey, I want to show you something on my phone here. I want to show you that I got away with basically this, or I don't think she really used those terms, but my husband tried to, come over here and, muscle himself, and he whipped out a knife because she's got to stay in sync with the case, right? She can't make herself look like she's at blame, but she's telling friends, and I'm happy he's dead. And she's showing video, and her mother's going on true crime areas and pointing out videos, and this is a crime that just happened at my house, and wow, look at this, and people are giving her attention, and they're meeting needs. Both of them are meeting human needs. If you're going into the coaching part of this, they're both getting significance. They're both getting value for what they're portraying. So there you have that. They're both using it in dating and meeting and connecting and true crime stuff to be noticed. And they are being noticed, but not by what they want to be noticed. In the shadows is the police saying none of this is measuring up. Let's start bringing people in for questioning. And we're going to start with who? The wife. And we're going to start with Kathryn. So we're going to bring her in and let's see what she has to say in reference to this. But now, put yourself in their shoes. Have you ever got away with something where, wow, I felt so powerful that maybe I shouldn't have done that? I'm not saying nothing to the caliber of what they did, but maybe I took the last scoop of ice cream out of dad's container. He wanted that ice cream and I left him this much. I know that's happened in my house. And so, you ever felt something like where I shouldn't have done it, but hey, I got away with this? Putting yourself in their shoes. Did you brag about it? Did you mention it to people? You see these things. I know in workplaces, I'll see people, they'll go, wow, they gave me a little more on my paycheck this week. Should I say something? Or look, they left this here and I wasn't supposed to see this. Should I mention this? How did it make you feel? That's what I mean by putting yourself in a person's shoes. But let's go ahead and find out how this case is now in the hands of the police. And in their first real interview of questioning outside of the home of the crime that day, but in a place in the police station where now the walls are closing in. But here's your next question first and foremost.
The police gathered all of the forensic evidence and hauled Kathryn in. Kathryn's initial response to police: I don't know what you're trying to say. I already told you everything. If it doesn't add up, maybe you're not listening right. Or maybe someone's twisting things. I'm not the one who planned anything. I was scared. My mom, she's the one who kept pushing. I didn't even want to be there. Then when pressed further, you think I'm lying? Fine, but I'm not stupid. I know how this works. You want someone to blame and I'm the easy target, but I'm not going down for something I didn't do. Talk to her. She's the one who bragged about it. She loved the attention. I was just trying to survive. Kathryn pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, first-degree felony discharge of a firearm. Kevin Ellis and Tracy Grist are awaiting trial. Kathryn's courtroom agreement. As the courtroom quiets, Kathryn stands before the judge, her expression unreadable. Her attorney speaks first, confirming the plea deal. Your Honor, Ms. Kathryn agrees to the terms outlined in the plea agreement. She accepts responsibility for her role in the obstruction of justice and unlawful distribution of sensitive materials related to the case. She waives her right to trial and consents to the recommended sentence. Then Kathryn speaks. I never meant for things to go this far. I was scared, confused, And I made choices I regret. I accept the consequences. I just want to move forward. The judge nods, then delivers the sentence. You are hereby sentenced to 8 years with eligibility for parole after 5. You will undergo psychological evaluation and are prohibited from accessing or distributing any crime-related media during your incarceration. Kathryn's mother and brother are still awaiting trial.
So the police take her in, and remember what we said before, we're going to put ourselves at least in each person's shoes, at least Kathryn's, and she states it herself in the interrogation. She states, my mother loves attention, and this was her thing. I really wanted nothing to do with it. Now, whether that's true or not, but remember, we said this is all coming down to a form also of taking someone out, but also bragging. Look what I got away with. Look at the attention factor. Look at your 6 human needs that we worked with in these podcasts forever and which needs were being fulfilled, right? The most valuable one, the most powerful one is significance and value. You need number three. And that's what they were all getting from this. So now she says, I'm not going down with the ship. In fact, this wasn't my doing. So they make a deal. And the deal states that the other two were involved. You'll see that my mother orchestrated this, my brother shot in it, and I want nothing to do with this. The only guilt that I am stating that I have done is that I told people about this. So I went on dates. So I bragged at dates in reference to, a crime took place in my home. I didn't necessarily brag like I was glad he was dead, even though people, circumstantial, said that I did. So I'm not guilty of this crime. And I guess that's the way the courts see it because she got 8 years, 5 years, she'll get basically the possibility for parole and a psychological evaluation. Do you agree with this looking in? Do you agree with that statement that really I didn't want him dead, but there was a tracker in the car? You knew he was coming and you knew what was planned for him, but she only gets what I look at as a slap in the wrist. What do you think? How do you feel about that? How would you feel about that? Well, that's the key. That's the whole thing that we're connecting on. And now the brother and the mother, they'll have their day in court. Will she get the same leniency? Someone's going to jail for a long time, maybe both of them. He definitely is. He pulled the trigger. Somebody planted that knife, and someone's going to jail for life, possibly both of them. But once again, this is the crime of the family of Kathryn and the death of Matthew, unfortunately. And now the children, at least until the mother gets out and maybe other family members. But now, one day she's going to be out, whether it's 5 or 8 years. Are you going to use that same storyline when your children are older? And I didn't want him dead. I didn't get along with your father. You heard us argue. I didn't get along with him, but I never would want your father dead. And is it mom? Does she get a pass because you're little and you don't understand? You might be a teenager now and you killed dad. I mean, these are the things that are so sad. These are the things that basically these children are going to have issues and concerns and make interesting choices through life because of the decision of their peers. So again, keep us going, help us utilize these kind of talks, these kind of connections, using coaching, counseling, and behavioral methods to hopefully help someone who sees red flags that they can make better choices or get out of difficult or bad situations. And we're going to do that together by getting your help by liking, subscribing, and sharing and passing the message on. So once again, please like, subscribe, and share. It really is for a great cause, and we're doing great things here. And I appreciate you doing that for me. So once again, Criminal Psychology Files. Until next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are.